Hello, and welcome back to Gouldian Junction. I'm going to continue with my yard today. I haven't worked on it for a few days now. Yeah, so the next part of my yard process here is I'm going to put some of these tall yard lamps that I've got from Burko. Gonna put 2 of them in. I've decided I'm gonna put them in the center row here with the lamps facing up towards the engines, so it should light up the area quite well. I'm going to put 2 of them in, roughly one here and maybe one down here. So my plan is I'm going to drill a hole in my board here. I'm going to use roughly I think it's a 1.5 or 2 millimeter drill bit. I'll drill a hole straight through the baseboard to feed the wires through, and then I'll glue the yard lamps on in place. And then the plan is I'm going to wire the 2 together underneath my baseboard section here. I have approximately 20 centimeters I can work with, so I'll pull the wires to the side and just solder them together. Put some heat shrink tubing on and yeah, hope for the best. So let's get to it. The one lamp, I've already soldered some green and yellow wire onto it. Didn't matter which colour I use. I try not to use red and black too much, as I've used black and red for the feeder wires for the track. So normally when I'm under the baseboard I know which wires are roughly what. I've tried to keep green being a negative wire on the baseboard, and the yellow one I've used it on my point motors more than anything, so yeah, in this case I'm going to just use it again. I'm going to just feed the wires through here and then I'll solder it underneath the baseboard. So I'm just going to put a bit of PVA glue on the bottom. I put PVA glue, hopefully it should hold. One reason is it dries reasonably clear. The other reason is it's easy to remove too if I ever decide to move my lamps or anything in the future. Let's adjust the camera for you. I'm going to put it here. I'm just going to put my pair of pliers here to hold it in place for the time being, so that it keeps it straight. The top of the lamps you can actually rotate around. So that one's in place. Now comes the tricky part. I'll turn my soldering iron on, so I'll let it warm up. As it's warming up, I'll be back when it's done. I'll do my best to film under here while I'm showing you. It's probably a bit dark, so it'd be hard to say. I've wired the 2 blue wires together, which is the positive for the yard lamp. It's going to wire the black one. There's 2 black wires. I'm going to wire them both onto the yellow one, as I want the lamps to all light up at the same time. So I'm just wiring it around. I soldered the first one on, so I'm just going to put a bit of solder on top, and then it should be right. I use just a tiny bit of flux just to help it spread out. So I put just a bit of solder on there, and that should just hold it all together. stop it from coming loose, hopefully. As you can just see then, the yellow wire came off. I just want to trim this wire. It's got a little bit of a part on it that's dangling there. And when I put the shrink wrap over it, I want it to go over quite nicely. So take a bit of shrink tubing, stuff that you heat up just to shrink it over. Stop it from ever touching each other, short circuiting or anything. You never know, especially when it's under the baseboard. Might pull it one day and it touches itself. My plan is I'm gonna eventually wire these up to a switch, but for the time being I'm just gonna wire them to the buffer stops, as the buffer stops then run off 12 volts as well. So for the time being I'll just wire it under the baseboard to the same one, and then eventually I'm gonna build another control panel for all the lighting and everything. But until I get around to that, for the time being, I want them to work, so I'm just going to wire them up to that. To keep my wire tidy, I use these little plastic things with double-sided tape on. And I put one of these zip ties on it. And then I take all the wires I've got under here that are hanging loose, and I'll bundle them all together in one go. Unfortunately, I just flicked that little black thing somewhere. I'll grab another. Look for it later. Yeah, these little plastic things, they're pretty handy for keeping your wire tidy. I mean, they're not... You got two choices. You can put a screw in the middle of them as well, if you want to. But I'm not overly worried about putting a screw in the middle. And I don't normally over tie them either, just in case I want to run another wire in the middle of it eventually. So I peel the tape off it, just flick it around, and I just push it up. As you can see, it's hanging there. Got a lot of wires here at the moment that are all just hanging. I'll wrap them all up together, just so they're all nice and tidy for the time being. I got a feeling there's another one of them black things here. So that keeps the wire reasonably tidy. So as you can see, it's pretty tidy. It's under the baseboard now. So, welcome to Under the Baseboard. I do my best to light it up as much as possible using my torch on my phone. I'm not going to cut the cables short or anything at the moment, because I'm going to eventually extend them to a control board, so I'll leave them long for now. I've got these little clips under here, which are used for the lamps. This one being the negative, and this one being the positive, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And the brown one here being the positive one, which was my yellow cable. So with a bit of luck, when I plug this in, it should work. I know that I try to keep it as tidy as possible under here. At the moment, these wires hanging here are for the dropper wires, which I've installed into the yard. I just need to finish hooking them up to my bus wire under there, and then it should be done. So I'm gonna probably connect them up on the weekend when I get a bit of spare time. So let's head back to above the baseboard. So welcome to life above the baseboard again. As you can see, they're working. A bit hard to tell while the lights are on, but you might be able to pick up on it that they're on. I'll just flick the lights off. So, as you can see with the lights off, shines up quite well. Could have expected a little bit more light from them, but I mean, it's not meant to be glowing up like a Christmas tree, so overall I guess it's reasonably well. I guess when I put some lights in the signal box and stuff as well, I guess they will probably overall shine up quite well. As you can see, it was pretty quick to install these lamps. It's not a big job. I got a small yard lamp that I haven't quite decided where I want to put it yet. I am thinking of putting it outside the signal box somewhere. To light the path up there. A bit hard to see while the light's off now, but yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. And hope you've enjoyed watching this video. So, welcome back. I got my two lamps working now, as you can see. I got another yard lamp here. It's a short one. I've just been deciding on where I wanted to place it. I've come up with the decision that I'm gonna put it here next to the signal box. I'm thinking of putting it on the in between here, just in this section here, to light up the path and to light up the entrance type thing of the signal box. So I'm just gonna wire this up to my other two lamps. I'm not gonna film it all this time. I'm just gonna show you that I'm gonna put it there, and then once it's done, I haven't decided. I might put it there yet too. I'm just still thinking. I'm not rushing into it yet. I'm just trying to think it through. What's the best place for it? I kind of like it there in that spot. Maybe I might put it there actually. As you can see, it's a hard decision to make. Decision I've got to make that it's going to stay there for the next several years maybe, so I don't want to rush the decision, but anyway, there it goes. A drill there, going there. So, decision made. I'm going to put it in first before I put my grass down and everything now. Like I said, I'm not going to film all this, so I'll show you when it's done. So, now the lamp's working. A bit hard to see with the light on. I'll quickly turn the light off and show you. So, as you can see, it lights up the signal box entrance quite well. I think I'm probably going to light the signal box eventually with a LED inside it as well. That will be the next step. As you can see, the yard, it's starting to really look good now. I'm really satisfied with the area here. There's just a few more things to do and it's more or less finished this area. For now. I'll leave you with some shots of the trains going past. And I'll see you on the next video.